Hello everybody and welcome to our SQL 101 course. In this video we're going to talk about what a database is, what are the different types of databases, and I will show you what they generally look like. So first of all, let's talk about a database. You are familiar with databases already because we've covered them in Python and in our Java course. You even wrote a little SQL before, but in this course we will dive into it more and you will be proficient in SQL when you are done with it. So first of all, what is a database and why would we use it? Just think of it in a simple way. If you have some data that you want to store, you will use a database to store it. Basically, any social media, any website, any company that you might work for, or any company that just exists generally in today's world, they will use some sort of database to store any type of information about their employees, information about if it's a company that sells something, the sales information, the products information, manufacturers information, it will all be stored in a database. Now, there are two different types of databases. So it's first one is operational databases. We will work with these closely, but also there is the analytical database. The difference between the two is very simple to understand. Operational database has data that is stored in a dynamic way. What that means is the data is always changing. For example, for the employees, right? If somebody moves, if one of your employee moves or change the phone number, you can easily go in and change that data for them. But when it comes to analytical databases, the data does not change. The data is static. What that means is it's never modified. So those databases are usually stored are storing data for some sort of research or stuff like that when you need to see how that data changes over time. So the data will be stored for years and years and years, and new tables will be created to store new data. So all of the data that has been put into that database will be there and it will not go away. When it comes to operational databases, as I said, that data is always changing. It's fluid. So that is the main difference. That's how you can differentiate the two. Operational databases, data is always changing. Analytical databases, the data is stored for research and never changes, or very, very rarely the data will change, but in general, never changes. It stays the same. So let's talk about the anatomy of a database. The databases that we will be focusing in, as I said, are operational and relational. What that means is every single piece of information that is in your database will somehow relate to the other piece of data that is in your database. Now, how do we store them? So the main thing that you need to know is the database consists of many different tables. Each one of the tables will represent some sort of subject. In this example right here, we have a table that represents customers. Now in this table, we have customer ID, first name, last name, street address, city, state, and a zip code of our customer. Now, as you can see, every single piece of information is related somehow to a different piece of information. So we have a customer ID, and we know that behind this ID, there's a first name Angel, last name Kennedy, the street address where this customer lives, the city, state, and a zip code. So all of this information in a row will relate to each one of the fields. Now, each one of the tables will be separated by columns and rows. As you can see, these are the columns, the vertical ones. These are called columns, and the rows are called the horizontal line is a row. Each one of the rows, as I said, all of the information will relate to each other. However, when it comes to columns, the columns do not have to relate to each other. The columns are just there to separate the information into specific group. Now there's also such thing as keys. Keys are very important. Keys is how we can make sure that our rows are unique, that we do not have information that repeats itself. Now there's such thing as that's called primary key. Primary key cannot be the same. Primary key is how we differentiate the items within our table from each other. The primary key, in this case, we have a table called agents and a table called entertainers. Now the table agents has a primary key, agent ID. This column, agent ID, cannot have duplicate values. So as you can see, it's 1, 2, 3 right now, but even if we add more items in this table, it will not, 1, 2, or 3 will not repeat itself. So it's going to go 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, as we will add more data to this table. Primary key is how you can differentiate each one of the agents from each other. So you will know that agent ID 1 is can only belong to William Thompson. Agent ID 2 can only relate to Scott Bishop, and so on and so on. Each one of the agents, even if they have the same first and last name, they will have a different agent ID, and that's how you will be able to differentiate these people from each other. Now, a foreign key is how two tables can be linked to each other. So, as you can see, we have a primary key of agent ID right here in the agents table, and we have the same column, agent ID, but in our entertainers table. So what that means is that we can link these two tables together based on their agent ID. Now, agent ID in this specific table, entertainers, is what we call a foreign key. That means that we can link this table with the agents table based on this foreign key, agent ID. But for the primary key, the entertainer ID is the primary key for this specific table. You will be managing a database with a relational database management system. Now, there are many different systems to use. It will vary depend on your company that you will be working for, which RDBMS you will be using. However, they are very similar when it comes to how to use them. So if you know how to use one of them, you will be able to use all of them. That is why when you come out of this course, you will be able to utilize your SQL skills in any type of environment when you have to work with the databases. So what are we going to do next? In the next video, we're going to talk about SQL. We're going to talk about a couple of the commands. I'm going to show you how to use them. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me by email. Just let me know if there's anything else, and I will see you in the next video.